Hey guys, Elliot's Automotive here. Wanted to make a quick video on how to install a projector HUD from a Pontiac Grand Prix. A lot of times they're in like GXP, sometimes they're in other trims too, like GT2s or GT1s, GTPs. There's quite a few, I'm sure there's a few others that I'm missing, but anyways, the reason why I'm making this video is that there really isn't any information on how to do this, because you can research and a lot of people will tell you it just swaps right in, but if you have a 2006 Grand Prix GT like mine, it does not come with the HUD option, but it does have the wire plug for the HUD. If you look back in here, if you have the same year and same model and you're curious if you want to install it, it would be back here. Mine was attached to this piece of masking tape. It comes with it factory. I think right now it's just somewhere behind there. It's like right here or something. There we go. That one. Oh, that's the smaller one, so I think that one's for the cluster. This one though, yeah, this one's for the HUD. So this one will be hidden back here where that tape is. I'll even zoom in on it a little bit. So there's going to be like a tape attached to your wire loom right here. So that's where mine was. Some cars it might be different. But essentially I was wanting to install this HUD, and the car I took it out of, it has the clearance. It came out, the one I got, the HUD came out of a GXP Grand Prix, and you just take that shroud off and you can pull it out, pit it in, no big deal. My car, see if I have the HUD in here somewhere. Here's the projector HUD I was talking about, if you were curious. But on my car, as you can see, there just isn't clearance. It just isn't possible. It's not going to happen. And there's no way you're going to get it in there without pulling the dash. Unless you want to cut a massive hole through your cluster. But you'd have to cut this entire part just to get it in through here. Or you'd have to cut pretty much all the way almost back here just to get it in there. So I'm going to show you guys what I did. So first you're going to start just taking apart all the panels, all the trims, the cluster, the radio, anything in the front, the glove box, it all needs to come off, including the middle console too. Like it all comes out. I'm not going to go over too much how to remove like your vent here or your cluster here, or how to remove your shroud on your steering wheel, or even how to drop your steering wheel from the column. Or how to remove your bezel, your instrument bezel here, or your DIC, your digital information center, or your radio and your AC control and all that stuff. Your glove box, you can search this up anywhere. There's videos elsewhere that have it. I'm not going to make a video on it. I'm just making a video about how to get this dashboard ready to pull out. So this panel too, you got to remove. And one thing that I will go over. Alright, so up in here is where your passenger airbag is. And why that's important is you're never going to be able to pull this dashboard if you do not get the airbag bolts loosened, because it is attached to the dashboard. So I took out these bolts, obviously. Those are easy to find, they're right in there. I also originally took out, so there's your glove box area, and there's those 2 bolts, and then up here there's 3 bolts. Now, I don't think I had to take out those 3 bolts, but I did. If you end up thinking you need to take them out, go ahead, take them out. I don't think it's actually necessary to take them out though to do this. Just these 2 are necessary, right there. So, and that's right underneath your glove box area. But that's one of the big main keys. Another thing you need to keep really close attention to is some of the bolts in here. There's going to be bolts back here. There's going to be bolts that go right there. There might be other bolts elsewhere that might be a little kind of hidden. You do got to take your ignition switch out. Mine fell out. Yours might not fall out like mine did, but mine's right there. You got to take that out as well. But yeah, look in this area real closely for bolts, because there's quite a few hidden ones. And then there's also going to be bolts up in here. See if I can get you to see it. Not there, right here. So there's that bolt hole right there, and that's literally just right in there. And to get to this bolt, you're gonna have to take off your defroster vent cover for this. Mine, I ended up breaking it in like a million pieces. It was already cracked in like 4 different places anyways. I'm gonna make a new one, just make one out of wood or something, or figure something out. I'm not really worried about that. But there's those bolts there. You got to take this defroster vent off to get to that bolt. There's one on that side, one on that side. There's also going to be 2 lights. One is here, I believe the other one is over here. So those 2 lights, one of them is like a red LED light. The other one's like, I believe, like a rain sensor. So this one's like a security light, and this one's like a daylight, day, night, rain, not a rain sensor. It's a day/night sensor, I assume. But you do have to either twist those out or prime out to make sure you don't break those. I broke mine in the process because I didn't realize that, but yeah, I broke my red security light over here. You do like a little, I think it's a clockwise turn or a counterclockwise turn, I can't remember, but you just spin it, pop it up, comes out. Yeah, try not to break that, because I did. And same thing with this one. I assume it twists out. I'm not so sure on that. I could be wrong on that one. But that one might pop out. But yeah, once you get the defroster vent off, you take those lights off first. You get the defroster vent off. You get the bolt. That's right here. There's another one way down there on the other side. I'll show you real quick. So this is on the left side now, and you'll see, where is it? Right in here somewhere. There we go. It wasn't on all the way. So yeah, and there's the other bolt hole. So you'll have to take that bolt out. Other than that, I think that's all the bolts. You do have these plastic clips that you do have to probably break. I used pliers and I just broke them or pushed them in. But those clips attached to this, like, see, this wood foam stuff. It's attached to this stuff, and it's in there, so it's going to be hard to pull your dashboard out when it's fastened to that. And there's a few clips, as you can see. There's one here, one there. Maybe I can zoom in on it. One there, and so might be one more down here. Yeah, so there's a couple of those clips that you gotta break loose to be able to do this as well. But, and then you got your middle console area as well. And if you don't take out your middle console, it might be, you might not have the clearance to move this forward. And there's also going to be bolts in here, bolts in here, here. There's quite a few bolts. There's quite a few things to loosen. There's this thing you got to loosen, take out. A lot of wires you're going to have left unplugged, a lot of stuff going on. But I think that pretty much covers it. Once you get every bolt loosened that you can possibly think of, some of these bolts you won't have to mess up with so much. Like this bolt stays in this hole. That's what this vent goes for. You don't necessarily have to do that, but I did it because it felt like it was in the way. But once you do all those bolts, you should be able to, you drop this down, make sure your seat's gonna catch the steering wheel, so you don't want to damage that little line right there, your little shit right there. And be careful with this plastic, it will pretty much hang really close to your steering column. But yeah, you know, you get in here and you should be able to just, once it's loose, just pull it right out. Let me put these wires back before I start pulling. See if I can get a good view for y'all. So yeah, you know, you can pull it out pretty easy after that. This side you got to be careful because it has the airbag. I'm trying to do it with one hand here without breaking anything. Oh yeah, there we go. And that's pretty much how you lift it up. Now, the way I got this in here, which, you know, I guess you could try putting it in here like that. Once you know, you'd still have to cut your dash to do this, but you could do something like this. This is not stock. I had to make this cut to make the HUD fit, and that's just the way it is. Mine did not come with this slot, but regardless, the way I figured I'd put it in is through this side here, real easy like this. Very carefully, try not to scratch your projector and all that. I'm gonna grab up here so it doesn't, there we go. Yeah, put it up in here. You're gonna have 2 bolt holes. Now, if you're trying to do this, these bolts will not have threads. I had to buy a little power tap kit with a drill attachment. I got a drill up in here and I drilled some threads in here. I'm gonna do that with both sides. I already did both. Is it too hard to do? You can get like a $20 set from Harbor Freight and do that in 10-15 minutes easy. But hey, you get that up in here and now you got room to actually put this dashboard back over it. I'll do that real quick. I got to do that with both hands. So now I got my HUD up in here, really nice, really clean. See if I can show the other side maybe. Hands might be a little dirty. Yeah, no, it's too defrosted. But anyways, yeah, it's in there. Like, yeah, that's the best view I'll probably get of it right now. It's in there. It's in there really good. Got a really good cut for it. Now, one thing to set is make sure all your bolt holes are aligned. If you look in here, that's pretty aligned. That's pretty aligned. That's aligned. That's aligned. Aligned. Make sure this one's aligned. This one needs to press in. It's probably because the side's out of line. Let's see if I can see it from here. It's pretty much in line. Yeah. And that's pretty much it, you know. You get it up in there. Yeah. That's where it plugs in, right there on the right side. This is, yeah, I'll even show that it plugs in real quick, just to give you a example. There you go, that's it plugged in. I don't have it pressed in all the way, but it's plugged in that slot. It's the same shape of the slot, it works perfectly. So, it's like up in there. I'll show you the cut that I made. I could have made it a little better if I did a little template, but I didn't really care too much about using a little piece of cardboard as a template. Yeah, I made a pretty, marked some lines here, just taking some measurements with like a screwdriver. That's pretty much all I did. Because this part's going to be covered anyways. That's how it was from factory. Like, none of this would be seen from factory anyways. So This line I didn't do so straight, but it's because it has this lifted edge right here. So I had to make room for that lifted edge specifically. And then here at the very front of the HUD, it's got like a curved edge, so I made a little curve edge cut, made it pretty straight as I could. And then a lot of the cutting ended up being, as you can tell, I mean, this is flappy now. Usually it's got structure, you can't even press it in. All this you can press in now, but you know, you got to make room for this. The highest part is in the back, and you also got this clip. So you got to make room for all of this to fit in here, and you got to end up cutting pretty much all the way back here to make this little square piece fit, unless you want to cut off this square piece, but that's up to you. I don't really care too much about cutting off the plastic. Under here, it's just a thin layer of plastic, like that thick, and a lot of foam. It's just filled with foam. But I'll show you that cut underneath here. It's a lot uglier, but then again, it's really never going to be seen by anyone except for this video. So I still got some cleaning up to do in here, as you can tell. So you can zoom out a bit because it's too zoomed in for me. There we go. So yeah, how to make this cut. You gotta grind. So there's this foam that I'm talking about. There's the dust of the foam. You can see it. It's like this clothy foam. Maybe I can zoom in on that. Yeah, just this foam. You grind that out. Try not to go through your surface here. Once you start seeing the underside, that's when you stop. I got quite lucky quite a few times here, as you can tell. But I mean, that's, you know, easy done deal. Look at, that's a pretty straight cut from this angle. Dang. But yeah, you get your cut in, you're all set. Pretty much concludes the entirety of this video. If you end up wanting to do this to your Grand Prix, I mean, this is what it's gonna end up taking. I'm only doing this to my car because I had a little fender bender recently, and I got some new fenders and a new spoiler and this HUD, of course, and some other goodies too, interior wise and whatnot. And so, but yeah, I try to ask, you know, I try to do some poking around Google, trying to figure out how to get this done, and a lot of the answers you'll get is how to take off some of the panels to the dashboard, but not how to actually take out the dashboard itself. I haven't seen very many good YouTube videos explaining how to do this either, so I'm hoping this helps out someone who's maybe on the same quest that I was. But yeah, I even had some people where I asked Facebook groups, and they kept referring me to these damn manuals that didn't say a damn thing about how to do any of this. They only told me how to take off certain panels and whatnot with useless information and a bunch of know-it-alls that don't actually know nothing. So hopefully this will be a decent video for someone out there.